If you want to be wealthy and happy, the very first place you must start is not with money, not with opportunities, and not even with strategy, but with your mindset. Everything in your life today is a direct reflection of the beliefs you've been carrying for years. And one of Tony Robbins' most powerful teachings is this: your beliefs create your reality. Change your beliefs, and you change your life. You see, wealth isn't something you pursue. Wealth is something you attract by becoming a certain kind of person. When people think of wealth, they often imagine a number in their bank account. But true wealth begins with the internal belief that you deserve more, that you can create more, and that you are responsible for shaping your own destiny. If you don't truly believe you can be wealthy, even if someone gives you money, you will eventually lose it, because your inner world hasn't changed. Your brain is constantly collecting evidence that matches the story you tell yourself. If your inner story says, "I'm not lucky," "I'm not good with money," or "people like me don't become rich," then your subconscious will filter the world through that lens. You won't notice opportunities. You won't take risks. You won't try new things. You'll sabotage your own potential without even realizing it. But the moment you shift your inner identity, the moment you tell yourself, "I can learn, I can grow, I can create wealth, I deserve a better life, and I am capable," everything begins to change. Because now your brain starts searching for proof of that new identity. What you focus on, you feel. What you feel, you act on. And what you act on determines your destiny. Happiness works the same way. Many people believe they'll be happy after they become wealthy. They postpone joy, waiting for some external condition to make them feel alive. But Tony Robbins says the opposite is true. Happiness is a daily emotional practice, not a reward you earn later. Wealth doesn't create happiness, but happiness creates the emotional energy you need to build wealth. When you feel grateful, hopeful, inspired, and strong, you think bigger. You dream bigger. You make decisions that move you forward. Happiness gives you access to your highest intelligence. You become more resourceful, patient, and creative. So if you want to be wealthy and happy, start by mastering the stories inside your mind. Replace limitation with possibility. Replace fear with courage. Replace doubt with certainty. Wealth begins with mindset, and your mindset is something you can shape every single day. People often focus on what wealthy people have, but they rarely pay attention to what wealthy people feel. Because before success shows up in your bank account, it shows up in your emotions. Tony Robbins teaches that your emotional state is your most powerful asset, or your greatest enemy. Think about the people who succeed consistently. They're not lucky. They simply operate from empowering emotional states more often than others. Confidence, commitment, curiosity, determination. These emotions fuel powerful decisions, and powerful decisions build extraordinary lives. Most people, however, live in emotional states that keep them stuck: stress, fear, frustration, doubt. When you live in these states, you can't think clearly. You can't plan long-term. You can't take bold action. You shrink, hesitate, and settle for less. Emotion is not random. Emotion is a habit. And if you want to be wealthy and happy, you have to break the emotional habits that weaken you and replace them with emotional habits that empower you. Gratitude is the first emotional habit of wealthy and happy people. Not because gratitude is soft or spiritual, but because gratitude rewires the brain to notice opportunities instead of problems. When you're grateful, your nervous system calms down. Creativity increases. Fear decreases. You make smarter decisions. You act from abundance rather than desperation. The second emotional habit is certainty. Not arrogance, but the deep inner belief that you can figure things out no matter what happens. Wealthy people aren't fearless. They simply condition themselves to act even when they feel fear. They trust their ability to adapt. They trust their resilience. Certainty is something you build every time you push through discomfort. The third emotional habit is focus. Whatever you focus on expands. Focus on problems, and you'll experience more problems. Focus on possibilities, and opportunities appear. Wealthy people are masters of directing their attention. They don't waste time on things they can't control. They put their energy into what moves the needle. And finally, wealthy people practice emotional resilience, the ability to bounce back quickly. They don't stay broken. They don't stay down. They feel the emotion, learn the lesson, and move forward. Happiness doesn't mean life is perfect. It means you don't let difficulties steal your inner strength. Your emotional habits determine the quality of your decisions, and your decisions determine the quality of your life. If you want wealth and happiness, build the emotional foundation first. The results will follow. Financial freedom is not about being rich. It's about having choices. It's the ability to live life on your terms without fear controlling your decisions. Tony Robbins teaches that the journey to freedom begins with a simple but powerful shift. You must become the architect of your future, not a passenger in your circumstances. The first step is clarity. You must know exactly what financial freedom looks like for you, not for society, not for your coworkers, not for your family. What does freedom feel like? Where do you live? How much do you earn? How much do you save? What does a perfect day look like? Without clarity, you're simply drifting. Next, you need a strategy. And contrary to popular belief, building wealth doesn't require extreme intelligence or luck. It requires discipline, consistency, and a long-term vision. Financially free people follow simple but powerful rules. They spend less than they earn, they invest regularly, and they protect their money from emotional decision-making. But strategy alone is not enough. You must master the psychology of wealth. Many people know what to do, but don't do it, because fear, impatience, or self-doubt gets in the way. The real battle of wealth is psychological. You must also embrace the concept of leverage. Most people trade time for money, but wealthy people build systems, investments, and skills that make money even when they're not working. Whether it's starting a business, learning high-income skills, or investing in assets, freedom grows when your money begins working for you. And as Tony Robbins teaches, financial freedom also requires contribution. Money without purpose becomes empty. True wealth is not measured by the size of your bank account, but by the meaning you create, the lives you impact, and the legacy you leave behind. When your financial journey is fueled by purpose, you gain unstoppable drive. Financial freedom isn't reserved for the lucky. It's built by those who take consistent action, no matter where they start. Every great journey begins with one step, and that step can begin today. Happiness is not an accident. It's not something you discover someday in the future. It's something you create intentionally, daily. Tony Robbins teaches that happiness comes from three simple forces: growth, gratitude, and giving. First comes growth. Everything in nature grows or dies, and human beings are no different. We feel happiest when we're progressing, even if the progress is small. When we learn, when we evolve, when we overcome challenges, we feel alive. If you want long-term happiness, ask yourself, in what area of my life am I growing? Physical health, emotional strength, finances, relationships. Growth fuels fulfillment. Second comes gratitude. Gratitude is the antidote to suffering. You cannot feel fear and gratitude at the same time. You cannot feel anger and gratitude at the same time. Gratitude elevates your emotional state instantly. The happiest people in the world are not those with perfect lives. They are the ones who appreciate the good even in imperfect moments. Happiness comes from training your mind to see the blessings you already have while working toward the blessings you desire. The third force is giving. Contribution is the ultimate fulfillment. When you give time, love, wisdom, support, or resources, you enter a state of abundance. You feel connected to something larger than yourself. This is why people who volunteer, help others, or support causes feel a deep sense of joy. When you give, life expands. What you give comes back to you in ways you cannot imagine. Happiness is also influenced by the people you surround yourself with. Energy is contagious. If you surround yourself with negative, fearful, or limiting people, you will absorb that mindset. But if you surround yourself with people who uplift you, challenge you, and inspire you, your life transforms. And finally, happiness requires presence. So many people live either in the past or the future. They replay old wounds or worry about future challenges. But happiness lives in the present moment, in the breath you're taking right now. When you slow down, feel the moment, and appreciate what's in front of you, happiness becomes effortless. In the end, a wealthy and happy life is not built by chance. It is built by intention, built by mastering your mind, shaping your emotions, taking courageous action, and living with purpose. You have everything you need within you to create the life you desire. And your journey begins the moment you decide to take control of your destiny.